Hello everyone! Welcome to It's Crochet O'Clock. My name is Stephanie and today I'm going to be showing you how I block shawls. Now there's so many different ways to block items and there's all kinds of different items that need blocking every now and then, and there's so many ways to do it. So going into this, the first thing that I want to tell you is that my way is not the be-all end-all. This is just how I prefer to block shawls. And anything else that I need a super straight edge on. And the biggest part of that is my Knit Picks blocking wires. I don't know if you guys have ever heard about these before. I will link them in the description box below, but see, they're just tiny little wires, metal wires. There's a bunch of them in here, and it actually comes with T-pins as well, which is super helpful. But I weave these in between the posts of my stitches, not through the tops of the stitches, but through the posts of my stitches. And using these allows me to get a very straight line, or if something and I need to get a curved line, I can do that as well with my blocking wires. But there are a couple other items that I need for how I block things. So don't forget, the link for these is in the description box below, okay? The other thing that I need, I have to reach down, grab it. I still use these foamy mats here. They are just generic little exercise mats. I use them to pin to. I don't necessarily use them for the blocking itself, because I have a nice wood blocking board that I use now, so I can make sure that everything is uniform. But with these, they have little pieces that you can plug in here, and it'll give you a straight line. So you can set them up, and that can help you with your guide. So I use it as something to anchor to hold the shape of what I'm pinning down, and then I also use it as a guide for the line to make sure that I don't get a wave. So aside from pins and your blocking wires and something to anchor down to, the other and this is a very strange thing, but listen, it's Crochet O'Clock, okay? Things get strange around here. I am not a dunker. There's a lot of people that prefer to take whatever it is that they're blocking and they will soak it completely in water and some type of blocking solution, and then they will lay it down in between two towels and roll it up to get the excess moisture out. That's just way too much work for me. I'm lazy, y'all. I'm so lazy, okay? So I'm not a dunker. I'm a sprayer, okay? This is not for breeze. I just happen to love the way that this bottle sprays. So I use it, I washed it out, and I've had this thing for years. I know this one has lasted me at least 4 years. I just refill it and just keep on going. But the other thing that is strange is I don't use blocking solutions. I don't like the ingredients in a lot of them. So what I do, strange thing, is I use a conditioner that is all white and is getting blown out here by the candles. This is the same conditioner that I use, one of my conditioners that I use on my hair. And the reason that I use a little bit of this in my water, that's all that I use, is it's water soluble. It has no silicones, no parabens, no no sulfates in it. So sulfates are, they're harsh and they're meant to clean. So I don't want that on what I'm blocking, and this is just in my mind. I don't want sulfates in there because it's already clean, and I don't want to mess with the fibers anymore. I don't want silicones and I don't want parabens in there because that's plastic and it's wax. And I don't put that on my hair because it's not good for my hair, and I don't want it on the fibers for the item that I'm working on. So that's why I use this. It softens up. A lot of people will use some laundry softener, things like that. I don't like the ingredients in it. I just don't. So I use one of the conditioners that I use for my own hair. I'm not saying run out, this is very expensive conditioner. It doesn't take much, but this is what I use. There's many other conditioners that are out there that are lower cost that also don't have any sulfates, parabens, or silicones in them. So you don't have to use Diva Curl. I'm just using this as an example. This is what I use to block with, okay? So just a little squish squish of that in some warm water, shake it up in the bottle, and it completely dissolves. There's never any chunks or anything like that. You don't have to worry about any of that. And then I am ready to go. So what I'm going to do now is, by the power of technology, we are going to zip on over to my floor, and I'm going to get everything set up, and I'm going to show you how I block. I don't know if you guys are going to find this interesting or not, but we will see. So here we go. Hi! Welcome to my floor. So we are going to start here. I have my T-pins, my handy little T-pins that you probably can't see because you're too far away. I have my blocking wires. I have my solution here, and I have my Amy's Embrace. I have already taken my foam and I have put them out into this triangle here to use to pin down, and then for the top, because I don't have enough, I am going to use my carpet as an anchor for it. So the first thing that you have to do is you have to weave, okay? And sometimes you're going to have an overlap, and I will have an overlap here with this shawl. The important thing to remember is that you have to give yourself room to overlap, you know, a couple inches, a good maybe 4 or 5 inches of overlap if you can, because if you don't, if you make them just meet, then you're going to end up with a sag, and you don't want that because we want everything perfect. So let's try to remember that you need to do an overlap. Okay, so here comes the super exciting part, is all of the weaving. Remember, I go in between the posts. I don't go into the actual tops of the stitches. I go in between the posts. I feel like that's more stable for what I want and for the result that I want. So that's how I do that. So let's get started. Okay, there's one side down. Now it's time to do another one. The very last thing that needs to have a wire put into it is the top of the shawl. It gets a little sticky at this point because you have to pay attention and make sure that you aren't pulling out the wires that you've already placed in. Yes, you could pin them down right now, but that might actually make it a little bit harder for you to weave in and out of. You just got to be super careful at this point, okay? Just be really, really careful. You've worked on this for many hours. Just be careful about it, okay? Now that I've gotten all of the blocking wires in, now it's time to start pinning. And this is the tricky part. I spray and then I pin and then I spray and I stretch a little bit more. I can't do anything the easy way, I don't guess. This is just my preferred way. This is the part that can get a little bit tricky. It's the corners. The first corner is always perfect. It's always perfection. The other corners, whenever you're doing this, you have to try and line everything up. And don't forget that blocking is to give it its shape. Whenever we first started, you see how this is still kind of a circle? We don't want that. We wanted a nice square. So we have to give it its shape. That's what we're doing here. And the most difficult part is the other corners. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I am going to leave this. I will leave the ceiling fan in here going overnight, and tomorrow morning I will come back in. It's not going to take that long to dry because we didn't use a whole lot of water. The big thing here is that I like with the spray bottle is it gives just enough to moisten it, just to dampen it. It's not completely soaked through all the way. I don't think that you need to soak things through completely in order to give it its shape. So this is done rather nicely. It's not perfect, of course. No project ever is perfect, but I am happy with how it's come out. So I'm going to turn the ceiling fan on. I'm going to leave it overnight, and then tomorrow I'll simply come in and go in the reverse of everything that I have done. It's much quicker that way, but it will keep its shape until it gets wet again, and then I will just rinse, lather, and repeat and do it all over again. I hope that this has been helpful for you. If you are new to blocking or if you've never used blocking wires before, you can do this with the dunk method as well. It's completely up to you. Like I said, everybody blocks differently. There's so many different ways to block. This is just how I block shawls. Consistently, this is how I block them. May not be the easiest way, but it's how I do it. So I hope that it's been helpful for you. If it has, please make sure that you give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!